What's up, YouTube? It's your boy back again, Jody motherfucking Keith, with another story time for you. And this is another story from this past weekend at the Star City Games Invitational. I was at the event. You know, I didn't do too well, but I was watching my boys kill it, you know, and my boy Eli and my boy Gerard, they both top 8'd. And I went and walked up to Gerard. I hadn't seen him all weekend, you know, I was focused on the game. And whenever I walked up on him, I was like, hey, man, you know, what's going on, GoonSquad, yada, yada, yada. You know, shooting the shit. He was in a group of friends, and I just busted in on him, tapped him off, you know, one love, you know, good vibes, dude just top 8'd. And he was like, I was like, so what happened? You drew in or what? Or what happened? He was like, man, last round. This is a sick story, he told me. So he's like, yeah, so last round I'm over here. I get paired up against the kid, right? And forgive me, I forget the kid's name, but he played this kid who's like 13 years old, which is really sick that he top 8'd, you know? So he gets paired against the guy in the last round. Now Gerard is the number 1 seed no matter what happens. Win, lose, draw, whatever. So the kid's like, walks up, he's got his dad behind him. He's like, hey, look, you know, you want to draw? And he's like, well, I don't know, man. I was thinking about playing. So he's seen the kid's face sink. The kid's face was like, oh, man. Thinking he was going to draw in. Made the kid sweat. And then he looked up at the dude's dad. He winked at him. And he was like, yeah, man, I don't know. I just kind of felt like playing, you know? And then he was like, well, you could draw in a 1 seed. He's like, I think I can lose and get 1 seed. And then he was like, oh. So this kid, you know, went like this. And he was like, oh. And then he was like, nah, kid, come on, man. I'll draw with you. So he drew with the kid to go in the top 8. That's kind of cool, making him sweat, you know? I love doing that, making my opponent sweat a little bit. You know, you got to give him a little, you know, make him sweat. Personally, I don't really draw that much. You know, it'd have to be somebody I knew. But I wouldn't beat that kid at the top 8, you know? Like, that's going to set the dude on a crazy path. But while he was over here doing this, I'm over here in the open, right? And I'm playing. And I'll tell you a really interesting rules situation that came up. So basically, I'm playing Lantern, which is a really slow deck. I'm over here, sit down, love some Lantern, and I'm like, all right, cool. Playing the guy, and I'm like, we played the first game, and it was really funny because he goes, I go turn 1, boom, land Grafsticker's Cage, and he just sighed so hard. And I was like, oh, this dude's playing some kind of graveyard deck. I got this cage out, turn 1, look at him, he sighed. Then I'm like, go. He's like, draw. He's like, land, Mimnite, Springleaf Drum, Signal Pest. And I was like, bruh. I said, what'd you side for? He was like, oh, man, I just hate playing against the Lantern deck. I was like, I went turn 1 cage off of Mulligan. You know what I'm saying? You can't be signing to that, you know? And so my opponent, you know, he was a little peculiar, you know? Everything just seemed to bother him a little bit, you know? So I got to ruffle his feathers a little bit. So then we're going to game 2. Go to present our decks, and then we get a mid-round deck check. So we're getting deck checked right now, which already sucks because if I win this game, we're going to go to time. You know, and then when we got the time extension, we're just going to be here. We're going to be the last match playing. So they're over there, boom, okay, checking the decks. You know, I'm trying to bullshit with the guy. He just seemed a little unnerved about everything. You know, everything just didn't really seem, you know, I mean, he seemed like a nice guy. Maybe I didn't understand him, but, you know, it just kind of seemed like, you know, everything was just kind of causing tension for him. So, and you know, we're both like 3-0, 4-0 or something, and so they come back with our decks, and they're like, all right, make sure you shuffle up real good, and I was like, all right, and then so we start shuffling, and I shuffle my deck really well, and then I present my deck, and my opponent's still shuffling, and then he's shuffling, and then he's shuffling, and then he's shuffling, and he's still shuffling. I'm like, yo, dude, what you doing over there? He's like, shuffling. And I was like, dude, you still shuffling over there? He's like, yeah, I'm shuffling, man. He's like, they deck checked us, man. You know, man, I hate that when they sort out your deck, man. I gotta shuffle it. I said, all right, man, do you? But like, I mean, we only got like an 8-minute extension here. So he's like, still shuffling, still shuffling. Now, since I'm gonna be on the play of this game, I decide that I'm just gonna open my hand. You know, I'm just gonna get that out the way now, get the mulligan out the way now. He's taking a lot of time to shuffle. I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, do the mulligans. So I scoop up my hand. It's got a lantern. It's got a lantern. It's got a mill rock. It's got a bobble. It's got a whir. It's got a bridge. It's got just about everything I want. It got 2 lands, and it's got an abrupt decay. Or no, yeah. So there was a pith needle in there somewhere too. So it was like, all right, cool. This hand is hot. And then I'm like, oh shit, man. No wonder it's hot. I got 8 cards. So I'm like, Judge. Call the judge on myself. I'm like, yo, Judge. Judge comes over. Really nice judge. One of the cool judges I interacted with this weekend, April. Y'all check her out, Star City Games judge. And so she comes over and she's like, oh, what's the problem? And I'm like, well, the problem is I opened the 8-card hand, right? So I'm like, and I don't really know what to do. I know it was a mistake. I called you over here. Check me out. Help me out there. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this. Would you keep it? Because I'm over here just clowning. I just can't believe that I drew an 8-card hand. I've literally never done that. I've been playing Magic for years and years and years. Never opened an 8-card hand. So I'm like, all right. She's like, pretty much this is what's going to happen. You're going to have 3 options. Okay? And I'm like, all right, cool. Give them to me straight. She's like, number 1, you can reveal your hand and your opponent gets to pick any card from it and shuffle it back into your deck. Okay? Or number 2, you can mulligan a 6 and they won't get to see your hand. Okay? Or number 3, you can concede. And I was like, whoa. That last one, that kind of goes without saying. I'm pretty sure you can concede any time. And she was like, yeah. But those are your 3 options. And I was like, all right, well, let me think about them. I'm pretty sure he can take any card out of this hand and this hand's still great. It doesn't even matter. If he puts me down on 1 land, it's still good. I didn't really want him to put me down 1 land, but I was like, all right, I think I'm going to do that. And then I was like, wait a minute, this guy's still shuffling. I'm like, well, he's still shuffling. Do I just throw him in? Does he have to pick now, throw the hand down, or does he get a seize open in hand first? And then she was like, oh, yeah, he gets seize open in hand first. I said, well, I might change my mind then. Hold on, let me think about that. And then I'm like, all right, cool, yeah. Check your hand out, bro. Here's mine. Boom, pick one. And so then he's, done shuffling, finally. And he's all like, I can't believe this shit's going down. My opponent's like super frustrated about this whole thing. On top of everything, then we got this other judge call. It's like people get nervous about judges being called. And one judge has had 2 interactions this match. So he's already a little shook up about it. So then he goes to look at it. And he's like, oh, man, that hand. He's just trying to pick it out. And then he's thinking. And then he decides he's going to mulligan. And he's like, I got another question. He's like, do I get a mulligan before I see? And I'm like, probably not. And judge is like, no, you don't get a mulligan before you decide. And he's like, oh, man. So then he just sits his deck down, and he's thinking, and he's like, all right. And he's looking at it, and he's like, pick. And then he goes to reach for land, and he's like, can I, and I'm like, the answer is yes. And then he was like, can I grab a land? And I'm like, yes. And the judge is like, yes. And I'm like, pfft. I said, take that land. I'm keeping this 1 lander, no problem. That's what I told him. No, damn good and well I didn't want to take a land. I got 2 3-drops in my hand, in my lander deck. So I was like, yeah, bro, take that land. I can't wait. I said, you take that land. I'm keeping this 1 lander all day. And he's like, so he thinks about it a little bit more, and then he ends up taking the whir. And I was like, man, took the whir right there? Crazy, Think long, think wrong. He took the whir, shuffled back in. He went down to 6, and then I cooked him. It was a crazy. I ended up losing the 3rd game because he top decked 3 Gal Blast. But it was just like this crazy interaction. People get nervous around these judges. And then this guy was just getting thrown through the loop, which was just very entertaining to me. Because he just couldn't really, deal with the situation he was in, And so, you definitely, if you can avoid getting frustrated by things that aren't part of Magic, it's already going to be frustrating playing some of the cards in a competitive atmosphere, but you really shouldn't get shook up by the little things. Trying to have fun, and you know what? People are gonna poke fun at you, like Gerard did with that kid. He made the kid sweat. So I wish I would have seen that live, but he told me about it. And try and have a good time. Fuck around with your opponent. It's gonna be a good time. You get more fun out of the Magic than just the Magic. So if you like this story, tell me about a time whenever you made your opponent sweat. Or, you gave him a hard time, made him think about it for a second. And, leave your comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe so people can find us. One love, good vibe. See you on the next story time.